the first part of this morning, I think, can be considered concluded, but now we can start a debate. Let me just close the presentation here. Okay. So I personally find very interesting the case studies that Ludovica showed and also Simone. I think they're very interesting, considering how we need to understand the dynamics of a city, of the spaces of a city, how the citizens use the spaces. And so actually temporary setups can be a very interesting mode of using space and probably even to adapt space, not only to events, but also to weather events. And this can be clearly a topic. I would like to ask you if there are some questions, if anybody wants to make some comments or some kind of an intervention. We have some questions from our students here, I guess, but let's see if our partners have some comments. Maybe Salvatore, I don't know. Otherwise, I can ask something. So we have one question from one of our students. I'm simply going to translate this question. This goes to the Belgrade team, to Jelena. The question is, how can we, as technicians, as architects, how can we convince the public administrations, the technicians that work in public administrations to adopt sustainable urban drainage systems or nature-based solutions, considering that they are rather expensive, but also considering that I would add that probably in many administrations there isn't yet the culture, the know-how about these kind of technological solutions. So, Jelena, what is your idea on this?
We are at the very beginning with these actions in Serbia, and I think it depends on the context. I mean, if you have public administrators or politicians that are educated and informed, so probably this is the first step to manage with some pilot projects or small interventions that help. But I don't have a clue or a recipe for how to do it. We are experimenting here also. So it is first step is to educate our students for shift in mindset. Then second, of course, is to show, probably through some exhibitions or through some other ways of communication, what are the possibilities and what are benefits of different kind of approach. But actually what will happen depends on many factors. So I don't have solution. Probably Zoran. Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. He's more in contact with local police stations.
It's very interesting that this question has been posed to Belgrade, because we have not so open administratives here and not so educated administrative here. I suppose there is lack of educated administratives everywhere, because democracy is reaching the edges of the educated people inside of that. The main thing is working with the local administrators, to working and educate them, but educate them not, let's say, not ambitious and not aggressive, but just work with them and during the time after 2 or 3,000 years, they will understand that they need to change something, you know. It costs a lot, of course, but comparing to what? If we are comparing to the health of the people, or comparing to the impacts to the environment, environmental impacts, or the other things, you know, politicians usually don't think holistic. They think like politicians, and they think in the frame on their mandates. If it is go after their mandates, that it is problem for them. But if they will understand that it will be good for their kids as well, because many of them, they will have kids as well, probably they will understand. This is the story of not only about the greenery, but about the sustainability at all. We have to try to live for the future, the condition of the resources that we have in the better condition, in the same or better condition for the future that we have today. This is something that we all have to learn about it. But of course, we are experts, and we have to find a way to communicate with them. This is not easy job, but I'm very happy that somebody, because Timothy said that the students ask somebody who is young, I said young, but very clever, anticipate what will be the main problem in his practice in the future. Yes, that will be the main problem of the practice. You have to find a way how to explain to the government the value of good design. If you would be successful of it, your community will have a benefit of you. This is the best thing that you can do for the future of your community.
That's right. I totally agree with you, Zoran. And sometimes there's also a gap between the, let's say, the political willings, the political idea, and the people, the technicians that work inside the municipalities. There's also that kind of problem. So it's really a complex issue, I think. So Salvatore Carlucci, who wants to add something, I guess, to this conversation. Thank you, Salvatore.
Thank you very much. First of all, thanks a lot to all the speakers for these interesting sum up of experiences that basically set the grounds for my comment that follow Zoran's one. Sometimes we speak about the issues we find out and why. So the issue I would like to focus on is the why we look at it, because basically we are speaking about a very much techno-social economic system that is basically what we used to say non-linear. So it's not very simple to describe. It's not very simple to understand how our cities, our society will evolve given stressors applied to them. But what is sometimes very simple is that this large complexity is given by the overlap of simple issues that individually can be identified or individually can be understood. And so there is the attempt to try to use this simplistic approach to have a quick question to questions that a quick answer to questions that are very complicated. So, for example, when we try to assess the impact of any solution applied to our societies, to our cities, in terms of how much it costs, this is simplification because we have tangible and intangible impacts or outcomes that cannot be quantified using only the cost. In other cases, there is implementation. There are aspects that can be implemented on a short scale, on long-term scale, and in other cases, the implementation could act on different domains. So this is the beauty and the challenge of studying these techno-social economical systems that require a very deep, aware, and thorough knowledge that can provide tools to at least acknowledge this kind of complexity. Everybody that really wants to have simple answers is on the wrong way. And the comment of Zoran, I guess, was also in this manner, in a way to shape minds instead of filling minds with ideas or simple solutions.
Right. So I think we have another question from one of our students, Iris. She's here with me. And she doesn't have a lot of voice, but she's trying to speak anyway. And this is a question for UNICAM or for everybody. I don't know, maybe everybody can try and comment to this question.
My question is, if we have limited space in our city, because our historic centers are usually very densely built, how we can implement this solution which requires space?
Like the adaptive solutions that that Simone was showing us. So maybe, I don't know, Simone, if you have an idea on this. It's a tough question. Grazie, grazie.
So thank you for the question, for the hard question. So the problem is we have not enough space. It's true sometimes because, of course, if you refer to the historical centers, we have a limited space, so we can do so much. But the city is not only the compact city of the historic urban space. It's wider, and it's, as you saw before in the Collier drawing, it's something which is spread in the territory, and there is a lot of space because we have the different definition, Roskates, terrain bag, and the space of the diminished infrastructural definitions. And so we have, in the end, in the complete view, we have a lot of space. It's not, I think it's not a problem of space. What we can do in the, let's say, in the place where we have a limited quantity of space is to make it, let's say, intense. So a space that can be useful for more things. It can be used by different users, and it can face those ecological things. So it would be useful in the pandemic, maybe, to have a space capable to be everything, let's say. So I think this is my answer.
And Zoran and Yelena, maybe you have something to add? I see your hand is up.
Yes, yes, of course. Iris is Italian.
Yes, she says Italiana, no? Yes, she says yes.
Please don't implement anything of that in historical center of Italian cities. Please don't do it. And don't think about that as well. Because, you know, this is, look, every Italian city is a 5-minute walk city, historical center. Those cities has been designed to be sustainable, to be resistant, to be 5-minute walk, to be climate adapting. We all learn from your cities. Don't change it, please. We will lose the template. We will not know what to do in the future. Think about Ascoli Piceno. If you are in the central piazza eating olive ascolane, while you finish your package of olive ascolane, you will be out of the city walking from there. This is the matter of that. We are speaking in general. We are speaking about European cities, about world cities, but it's not implemented in any case. For example, in Belgrade, we have, in Serbia, we very near of Belgrade, or 12 kilometers from Belgrade, we have an excellent example converting one of the most beautiful piazza we had in Serbia. In Serbia, we don't have piazza in a traditional way like Italian have, but we had one in Pančevo, city of Pančevo, and citizens of city of Pančevo, villagers, actually converted in the park, which is beautiful park, but they lost a piazza. Think about a very particular Italian word, spiazzato. They are spiazzato. Pančevo is spiazzato. They lost the piazza converting in the park. Even it's very small city, 5 minutes out of Pančevo, there is a natural oasis of two beautiful river, Tamiš and the Danube River all around it. And Jelena, want to say also something?
I just wanted to make a comment on this in relation to variety of adaptive measures that we can implement. So it is a crucial thing to know the spectrum of possibilities that we have and to choose adequate ones for the specific urban tissue and urban morphology. So not to implement everything everywhere, but to know ecological system, natural system, how it works, social system, how it works, and morphology of place, and from these perspectives choose what is the best. So greenery won't be the best solution everywhere, but we can think of other ways how nature works and natural processes function. So sometimes water or just morphology will solve some problems. So knowledge is the answer.
Yeah, and also I think that, for example, Ludovica's examples can give us some insights, some points of view, like using temporary types of green, or using microforestation, for example, using spot interventions. That could be a measure, an action that we could use even when we have very densely built urban environments. I think. So I have another written question from one of our students. This one goes to the Lisbon team, but also to the UNICAM team. So you were talking about the 15 minutes concept. In this city, in the 15 minutes city, the pedestrian, the people that use bicycles, are at the center of the space. But we know from experiences that people that use cars, and also people who have commercial activities, usually don't agree. So how can we convince also these type of citizens? And also the question is deeper, because one suggestion maybe is from Ludovica's presentation, and maybe the use of tactical urbanism can help. Do you have examples on this? Rita.
Okay. So I'll speak a little bit and then give the word to you. We now have some students in the room as well. So
Okay. Maybe you have questions as well.
Okay, if you have questions, then you can ask as well. So to convince people, I guess the concept of convincing is in itself difficult, and projects like ours and like many other projects, research projects, education projects, architectural projects, sometimes or many times we call it participative. And actually in practice, it's very difficult to put in practice participation. We aim at participation. Sometimes we make some meetings with this person or that person, but actual participation, it should be thought. It's not very difficult, but it should be thought in a network framework. So in our case, we saw that we thought that maybe it would be easy to find soft mobility solution to the neighborhood, which was our case study. But then while asking residents, they would say something else. They would prefer to take the car and everything. We know that many examples like that. You know many examples like that, perhaps. But again, going back to the idea of participation, to convince people, we should see which organizations we have in a certain territory. And the organizations should work really together, and not with this we know better position, and trying to take for real the positionalities and different perspectives. Sometimes from residents there are good solutions, but I really don't know how to convince, for instance, old people that takes 30 to 40 minutes walking to the next bus stop, to really walk to the bus stop instead of asking their children or a Uber to take them to the city. So I don't know. And electric cars we have this sustainable issues with the electric cars for the moment. So I don't know. Do you want to add something?
Just one thing. I think the question is not how can we convince these people, but how can we listen to these people? So the participation, the public participation should listen all voices, and the 50 minutes concept is a beautiful concept in abstract, but as I can say in the presentation, in practice can lead to phenomenon objectification, higher rising houses prices, pushing out the residents. For example, in American cities, we have some examples like this. So preferring some neighborhood became elitist in comparison to other neighborhoods. So we have to listen in all the voices to make equitable neighborhood, with all services, maybe the most services in the neighborhood to find on foot, by bike, etc. But also listening all voices and what the effectively residents need. So this is my point of view.
Thank you. Ludovica, you want to add something?
Just to stress out the urbanist point of view, in this processes I shown before. I try to identify them looking for two different approaches that urbanists can have with the community. So the approach, the first approach is that of the education. So try to find some functions or some infrastructures, design them in order to let the people use the space in a different way. And the second is that I strongly believe that a public space have to be a place of experimentation directly for the citizen. So the approach of a space that is strictly projected and a strict function is difficult for the people, in my experience, to living it and to occupy the space. And also, I believe I totally agree with all you said, because I think that in this way the municipality, and that's why the Milan case is so interesting, the municipality can have a first try in the space, in the public space, and then decide how to intervene in a more classic and structured way.
Zoran and Yelena, you want to add something?
Just one answer. We didn't answer on the question if tactical urbanism can help. Everything can help, but I don't know urbanism which is not tactical. Every urbanism is tactical. Yelena and me, we personally know Michael Iden, and we spoke with him a lot on this topic, and he didn't quite understand what we are asking when I asked him, you know, what kind of urbanism is not tactical. But in any case, the way of working with the local community and with the people is hard work. And when we are doing that job here in our project, not in Serbia, this is not Serbian practice, but in our program, Public Art and Public Space, that Yelena and me is ruling, it will be 20 years this year, this program, we are knocking on each door, but literally, we are literally knocking on the door and speaking with people. And this mention of the people is fuel, actually, for our engine for future design. But this is not the only thing. Again, we have to speak about the power of education. Because people actually, people are not experts. They don't know diversity of solutions they can use in the front of them. That's why this is not only getting the information from them, but it's working with them in the same time with the administrators that was questioned before, and working in the same time bottom up and top down, but in the same time. This is not successive process. This is the process which is going in the same time, you know, and only in that that way success could be reached, you know. And we are learning also from them as much they are learning from us. This is exchanging. And there is another very important word that we persistently avoid to use. This is negotiation. Negotiation is a very important word in the city life, particularly when we are speaking about interests of pedestrians and car owners, because we had also the question that car owners think different. So what? They are there. Pedestrians is there. They have to negotiate to find a way how to find a solution for the better future for all. And also priority has been changed. You know, values, hopes are changed during the time. Only in my age has been changed radically several times. Only in my age of 40 years in working of field of urbanism. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoran. Thank you also, Rita and Caterina. Actually, you anticipated another question we had here for regarding the 15-minute city, because there was one student that was asking if there is the risk that the 15-minute city can somehow generate gentrification, but you said so. You somehow answered already to this question. So this is also because probably these parts of the cities become even more exclusive and more expensive. So I don't know if you want to add something about this, or in general, if you have some questions from your students.
No, only to add, for instance, the case that we present in Alvalade. Of course, in Lisbon, the prices are very high everywhere, but in places like Alvalade is they are very, very high, and people
not accessible to.
Not accessible.
Of course, and just to reinforce the concept, the 15-minute city as a concept is very interesting for is a local view, because you have you should have all services in 50 minutes walking or bike or by bike. But if you see in as a urban area, as a city, maybe can lead to exclusive areas. Exclusive areas. So part there is not segregate or exclusion or classy or elitist, and that there is not what we want to our cities, of course.
Thank you. So I think if there aren't any other questions, any other comments, I think final.
It's good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for this presentation. I want to conclude with a comment. The function of the time in urbanism and in architecture. This is a central point, in my opinion, for the future of our activities. In the past, the time is not at the center of our project. A plan, for example, is for a long time. Now we need to find flexible solutions. And this is a challenge for us, for architects and for urbanists. And this is the future. It's a very, very difficult to find the dimension of time in the rules of urbanism, for example. And climate change and the importance of public spaces, etc., need to have to take a reflection about this topic. And this is my opinion, and in your presentation, I think that the Times is very center is very interesting to develop with our project and with our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosalba. Are there any comments? Okay.
One thing just to say, I don't know if you notify that. I see that all your students are in the classroom. Our students are not in the classroom. Our students are online, but they are with us. They are here. You can see their names all around, and sometimes there is two of them behind of one name. Our students are here with us, but online, because we have our studio at evening, and it was too cruel to ask them to come at the faculty in the morning and to spend all the day at the faculty without many things to do, except this presentation and our studio at evening. Thank you for all presenters for excellent presentations, and for organization was good, and I hope we see next week, Monday again. Yes, and I hope Panos will be better, and I ask Salvatore and Joanna to send our greetings and best wishes to Panos to get better. Yes, thank you.
Yes, exactly. We hope Panos will recover as soon as possible. And, I want to personally thank all of the speakers today. It was really nice to have you here. I think it was really interesting for the students also, because we heard a whole lot of different things that can be useful for their ideas, for their programs, for their projects. So thank you, thanks a lot. Our next appointment will be next Monday, the 15th of May. So we will have CNR with a presentation on climate adaptation through fostering health perspectives in urban planning. And we will have the Cyprus Institute with Panos, climate modeling from global to local. So thanks again. It was really nice having you here. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
See you soon.
Ciao, see you soon in Lisbon. Ciao.
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 Interrompo il